All right, ladies and gentlemen, welcome back to a brand new edition of Pod by the BAE. I'm your host, Nathan Bond. Joined alongside me, Seth Varnadore, Robert Steeg, as we are proudly presented by Homefield apparel. Use our code BAE25 for 15% off your first order at homefieldapparel.com or use the affiliate link in the description if you have already done so. I got a bunch of cool stuff from Homefield this winter season, so make sure you guys check them out. We were telling you, Christmas is coming up. Well, get ahead of next year and start buying now. That's really how you do it, guys. You go much like you go to CVS to get the 75% off gift bags for Christmas and whatnot. Do it for Homefield. You're buying ahead, so you can never be late. Been a minute, guys.
Yeah.
You guys have had a couple pods. I've scheduling conflicts.
Yeah, we did day pods for a little bit. It was fun.
Yeah. Work from home must be nice.
Yeah, a couple day pods. Enjoyable.
So I haven't officially given my thoughts on the Brian Hartline hire at USF. Here's where I'm sitting as of Monday, December 29th at 8:56 p.m. That's the best you could do at offensive coordinator.
See, we've gone right past the head coach hire.
It was fine. Like, obviously, everybody's kind of pointed out, I mean, the glaring Jeff Scott just comparisons, right?
Mm-hmm.
He is an Ohio State guy through and through, obviously NFL receiver. So, and he was good. So I get there's a difference of he was actually an athlete. Sorry, Jeff, you're not an athlete. You're fine.
UCF on a fake field goal. Don't forget that.
He did. But do you think Jeff Scott can jump onto a kitchen counter right now, today?
He's got to show how sturdy it is to sell that house, baby.
The cookies don't do it. If Jeff Scott can jump onto the kitchen counter, people will buy a house. It just the comparisons. I totally understand it, and I'm very nervous about the hire. And then it softened up a little bit. Defense coordinator hire, awesome, big fan. But man, Tim Beck, really? You had so many options. What? Maybe I'm just naive, stupid, probably a bit of both. In this league, in this conference, you need to be a little unique when it comes to offensive scheme. You got the academies, you have Rice, the teams that are effective have a little bit of a unique offense. And we're running back out to almost like a Ohio State, pro style sort of thing. I know they kind of spread it out a little bit last year, but I think that's Seth. You may tell me I'm wrong, but I think that was more of the offensive coordinator more than Tim Beck at Coastal last season.
Last year, he hired an air raid coach. He hired an air raid offensive coordinator. He fired our guy, Travis Trickett. So, I mean, strike one.
Strike one.
We saw him do a lot with the little at USF. So, and when he got hired at Coastal, thought it was going to be a great hire, and then didn't mesh. I don't know. To me, I think Tim Beck's a little bit like Baby's first spread offense. It's spread offense, but it's kind of like the basics of the spread. I don't think it's anything. That's right. I was kind of with you when I first saw her. It's kind of like, okay, I don't think he's a terrible coach. I don't think he's unbelievable either. It was kind of like you probably could have given me 50 or 60 choices, and we would not have gotten to Tim Beck of Coastal Carolina. Yeah, so maybe more. So
gotta clarify which one there.
I'm Tim Beck of Vanderbilt, possibly, but not of Coastal Carolina. But he's been a successful coordinator before. I don't think he's terrible. He's had successful offenses. His NC State offenses are the ones I'm kind of looking at. Not bad, not great. They're able to throw the ball pretty well.
They had a really good quarterback. I mean, Devin Leary was.
Then Devin Leary went to Kentucky was terrible. So
yeah.
maybe they helped him a little bit. I don't know. So I don't know. I think the whole value proposition of this whole experience is that we're going to spend more money than everybody. So good luck.
Yeah.
Like we're just going to be so much better than you that
Right.
we're just going to overwhelm you with talent. We've got people that can acquire talent.
I was about to say that seems like it's what the play was. It to me was that you're already the max revenue share. You're already not necessarily lapping everyone when it comes to NIL, but you're pretty much doing the most you possibly can, which is doing a lot more than everyone else in the conference. So yeah, you could have given your soon to be Ferraris, the souped up engine, but like you might have also just put like a regular old engine into it. So I think it's to be seen. We've seen bad coordinators turn good, seen bad coordinators turn really bad. So I would have felt worse if they hired Tim Beck and then you saw them hire like more guys from Coastal or more guys from like Ohio State. And you just kind of kept in your shell that you were familiar with. Some of these guys, I mean, most of the offensive staff is going to be somewhat connected to Ohio State, which we'll get into in a little bit. But I was a little bit more relieved to see it's not just, the assistant wide receivers coach is now the, head wide receivers coach, or the, assistant offensive line coach is now the O-line coach, or anything like that. Like they branched out, at least reportedly, which makes me feel a little bit better that it's not just going to be the same dog and pony show that we've seen out of Tim Beck for the past 6 years. That's it.
Yeah. And it kind of leads us into a little bit of like kind of the burying the lead. Obviously, since we last spoke, Byron Brown's in the portal. And Tim Beck, historically, when he has a good quarterback, the offenses are good. Great. He had Grayson McCall for 2 years, I think, at Coastal. And obviously Devin Leary.
I think he was really hurt last year, the year before.
Yeah, the season he had to medically retire, I think, was 24. So like it's so stupid, but like when you have a good quarterback, your offense can look pretty good. It's when he hasn't had a good quarterback, what can he do? And with Coastal this past season, it was pretty clear they didn't have a competent quarterback, and they poured a bunch of quarterbacks into Coastal, and none of them hit. So obviously in this, you're definitely working with a different salary cap at USF than you were at Coastal, for sure, going into this very, very important portal season starting on January 2nd, which is this coming Friday. You've got to hit on the quarterback, and you're basically gonna have to redo the entire offensive line. The cool thing so far, and I say this so far, not many of the key contributors like offensively have hit the portal. Obviously Byram's gone, but I mean, that was a foregone conclusion halfway through the season, if we're being totally honest. Like, regardless, once
that's before the season.
Yeah, well, right. It was have a good season. You're either going to the NFL or you're getting paid by an SEC school, or you're going to stay. If Byron Brown was still at USF in 2026, it's because he had a bad year, and he did not have a bad year. So here we are. I hope that they're able to retain Lachlan. I think that would help continuity's sake, but they got to get a couple guys in. They got the Brit, who's like 6'6", 6'4". He's a big, tall dude, but he's not. I think he's more of a quote unquote camp arm, would be the nice way to put it. There's a lot of options, though.
I'm interested to see what they can get and what the strategy is at quarterback there, because I do think they can upgrade on what they have coming back, and find somebody to come in and start based on just limited viewing windows here. But we'll see what you're able to command and how much you want to spend across how many guys. You don't want to. Do you want to load up on a couple guys, or do you want to spread it out, bring in two decent guys, or go one really big? I don't know. I think they'll have some options. There's just going to be I don't know. There's, like you said, there hasn't been a ton of guys in yet. I'm kind of surprised when we were talking before the show about, all right, so how many guys are actually in the portal? And you go look at the list that Steeg's put together, and it's like, oh, not that many. And not all of them are super consequential either.
Mm-hmm.
Right.
Yeah.
I think there's 11 guys on the transfer out.
12 officially.
12?
We're waiting to find out if Trayvon Mitchell is given another waiver, and then it'll be 12.
Right. So there was Brandon Witten who didn't play a lick. There's Marcellus Tate who didn't play a lick. Your kickoff specialist, I guess. And then obviously Byram, Jarvis Lee, Jalen Stokes, I believe. Chaz.
I have the list right in front of us. Actually, for everyone that's in the Discord, it's available to you at any particular time, and that will be for in and out.
Could I share this to the screens?
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, give everyone a little teaser. This is what we have so far. Brandon Witten, Marcellus Tate, Denelson Exum. They were before the season had ended. Fred Gaskin, Jarvis Lee, Alvin Isaac, Chaz Nimrod, Cole Skinner, Trayvon Mitchell, Byron Brown, Jonas Ducluna, and Adam Suaguay.
Right. So, Alvin Isaac clearly got supplanted. He has fumble issues. We'll see where he lands. Jarvis Lee definitely showed flashes, but this would be his third head coach at the same school.
Yeah, I think
Get out while you can.
Yeah, good cash out opportunity. He had a good year.
Fred Gaskin, he's probably going to be at a G5 school or lower. Chaz probably healthy, can get he seems like a Wake Forest guy, like that level of P4.
He showed some good explosiveness, I think, in the games he played against some decent defenses. So I think he'll get a look by somebody.
Yeah, I mean, I hear there's a school that needs to replace one of their best receivers.
So, in the aggregate.
In the aggregate, we're going to moneyball this over there in the Plains. Cole Skinner felt like a glue guy, but he was like the 6th, 7th offensive lineman. He probably would have been in line to start this next season because I think all 5 starting offensive linemen are gone. So there's that. Jonas Ducluna flashes, but again, kind of got supplanted by James Chenault.
I almost wanted to include the guys that are gone because they're out of eligibility to kind of show what was kind of who can't leave, really. A lot of guys that you would see leave to try to cash another check had stayed. Jalen Schuler, Mac Harris come to mind. Josh Telescar. None of the offensive linemen are coming back. None of the front 7 are coming back, essentially. And I'm kind of waiting to see what's going to happen at the rest of the wide receiver, tight end, running back, DB room.
Seth, you mentioned it probably in the off season, right around the beginning of the season. If anybody who's played college football 26, that first season recruiting, it is a cluster because you have to replace so many people.
There were a lot of seniors, yeah.
There's going to be turnover regardless.
Yeah, that was something that, it's always interesting to get more outside perspectives. And that's something all year Bud Elliott had been talking about with USF and Golish. He kept saying, and I don't know if he was getting it from somebody, if it was just his thought looking at the roster. He said all year, Golish is going to leave. He's going to lose so many guys off this team after this season that he's got to basically cash in if they have a good year. And it was. You look at, because Schuler unexpectedly got another year. Matt Harris I think he had the COVID year, right? So he had the extra year. So there was a lot of guys that were able to kind of stay one more year. I mean, there were 2 or 3 guys that walked on senior day last year that came back and played again. So it was kind of, all hands on deck a little bit for some, especially on defense, I thought. And, the unfortunate thing is you just kind of watch through some of these games and the playoff and everything, and you probably were the best G5 team by a margin. It felt like. I think they were better than Tulane. I'm having watched Tulane a few times now. Just couldn't Just couldn't win the ones they needed. Unfortunate.
6 points.
Yeah.
Actually, 3 points, really, if you're thinking about it.
Should have been in the Grove, fellas.
That's annoying.
But we have good news.
We do.
We get new friends to learn about.
Yeah. Oh, poor Ryan.
Yeah, more importantly, poor Ryan.
Oh man. Let's quickly kind of go through some of the new coaches, because there are some new coaches on staff. Steeg, who kind of pops out to you as the guy's like, oh, okay. So like you kind of alluded to earlier, like not just going through the coastal route or going through the Ohio State route, but there are some dudes with some pretty good resumes as college coaches that are going to be joining the staff.
Yeah, I mean, first and foremost, Josh Aldridge as your defensive coordinator, which we talked about before, phenomenal. You looked at what the problems were that USF had in the American, and you have a guy that basically played against those weird, funky offenses very well in a very similar vein to what you had in Todd Orlando. So that was great. Terry Braden, the defensive line coach, NFL coaching veteran with Chiefs, really smart dude, really well. Mostly everyone that they brought in passes the sniff test, which is just absolutely critical for us here on the Bay Area Examiner. Fan favorite, Danny Verbeil, back at USF. Importantly, you kept James Rowe and Chet Kramer as well. So you get a little bit of continuity from the staff. I know that we talked about that before. But maybe some fresh voices around them might help them out a little bit. But ultimately, we get to keep James Rowe, incredibly bald head in this program. And then you brought in Nepo brother Mike Hartline to be your quarterbacks coach. But, complimentary. Pretty good quarterback coach. Helped Kentucky last year with their offense and, what they were doing with what's-his-face. Seth, you're going to know who I'm talking about, their quarterback.
Cutter Bowley.
Yep, him. Weird name.
Yeah. And that was when before Stein got hired. A lot of people thought Brian Hartline was going to be a big candidate at Kentucky, and some of it was because I guess he when his brother played there, he went to a ton of games there and really liked the program. But also his brother had done so well there that people were like, "Yeah, let's go all in. He's an alum. His brother is obviously a really well established coach. Let's go after him." They ended up going up with Will Stein, which I think is a really good hire for them. But there was a lot of rumblings around that job for Brian Hartline because of how good Mike was with Cutter Bowley, who they paid a ton of money to Zach Calzada, and then he didn't play, but he still fanned his money out on TikTok or Instagram or wherever he did it. But the other guy was actually playing a lot more and did really well and was really good at the end of the year. So he seemingly did a really good job with him. I think that's the one thing, and Steve's kind of pointed out, that's somewhat encouraging. I would have been discouraged somewhat if Hartline would have hired all right, I'm bringing like every GA and young guy from Ohio State, right? It would have been like, okay, that's not as – but he seemed to – the Aldridge hire was really interesting to me just because it was so far. Like, I didn't see any crossover with them at all.
I still can't figure it out.
So I thought that was a really interesting one. And then the Verpeil hire is cool. Him and James Rowe have worked together multiple times under Jerry Odom, at least one time, who I coached for at Tusculum. So he's a really, really good coach, and he's said that those two guys are really, really good coaches. And so then together will be interesting because I think they both know what they're doing. Both Verpeil's been a DC. I think both guys have been DCs at lower levels. So,
yep. Verpeil was the DC when Valdosta won the national title with Kerwin Bell, and then he had been the safeties coach at Army for quite a while.
I think he was the DC at Kennesaw before that.
Yep.
Remember we talked to him at the
was he at Kennesaw?
I think he was still at Kennesaw at that point. Yeah.
Yeah. So just a intense dude. Obviously, like an alum, played a lot. Here's a little fun little tidbit. I was super young and naive, and I didn't realize that Danny had a brother, Kevin. And so for about 7 years, there was a Verpale on the roster. I'm like, where are they getting all this eligibility from? They're about the same size. They played the same position, wore the same number. And my dumb brain was just like, all right, cool. We're just going to have a Verpale on the roster at all times. Because I think Leroy Selma Jr. also, I think, played for like 8 years. So like it was still kind of in the back of my mind. I was like, well, I guess USF just kind of lets people just play forever. Me not knowing like how college football worked at all. Stupid immigrant. But here we are. So cool kind of full circle moment for them. I want to say Danny and James were at USF together. As Danny was around like 07, I think James was as well.
I'm looking at their bio. I'll go look.
That feels right-ish. So I think they're about the same age.
No. Verpale graduated 04. Rowe graduated 09. So they would have maybe have had a crossover.
Maybe freshman year. Okay.
Yeah.
So Kevin was after Danny. See, this is where I'm at.
It's the original COVID years.
Yes, seriously. But that's always a fun one. Obviously, they haven't technically announced the offensive line coach, but that seems like a pretty good one, Seth, with Mike Soleni, the offensive line coach from UNLV, who they had a really good year this past season. I think they finished 10-3 in the Mountain West. They did lose to Boise State twice, but that's okay. We won't talk about that.
Could you imagine? Just imagine losing to Boise State. He's an interesting guy. Just his background. I think he's got a little Ohio State in his background, but also it seems like a decent bit of Dan Mullen, working with Dan Mullen in his background. So, and he's not learning on the job. He's actually been the position coach, had the room by himself this year at UNLV, who, while not as good as USF, is kind of striving to be one of those G5 teams that spins and has a ton of, like, they took a ton of transfers at UNLV. So he's probably had some experience having to kind of put a room together from kind of a bunch of separate dudes that maybe haven't been developed in the program. So hopefully he can hit the ground running. Have we mentioned the other guys that haven't officially been hired yet, Steeg?
They've been listed by like Pete DeMel's and Mike Zennitz's of the world. Well, at least two of them have.
Miles White, receivers coach. Did you talk about him?
Yep, he's quote unquote official. He changed his bio. He's in.
Yeah, and then Elijah Brooks, who was at Virginia Tech. That's what and then we're saying Binkus for the tight ends coach potentially. We think that's the one that has not been officially announced by anybody yet.
Right. That one is we're under the impression that he will be the tight ends coach.
That's
currently
our educated
unemployed.
guess. Yeah.
So don't know what the weight is, but maybe
he was with the Raiders this past year. Was with Ohio State previously, so went with Chip Kelly from Ohio State. He was a GA at Ohio State and then went with them to the Raiders. So worked with the tight ends at Ohio State. So, I think there's kind of a good mix of guys he knows and guys he doesn't know, and the guys he knows seems to have gone and somewhat proved it in other places, or at least been other places. It's not with Golish. He brought a bunch of guys that were GAs at Tennessee, and I was cool with that because of how unique the system was. Right, like you want people that know the system and have coached it and been around how it was coached. Like so, Coach Hoodie, he was not very experienced, but he'd been in that system for a while. So you felt like he could, it's almost like a specialty, right? So these guys have all been around different places. Not all of them just been Ohio State. So that's been somewhat encouraging because I was kind of, Hartline. I'm really, I think he's a really good coach and really detailed, but would not have been my first choice of all the coaches we had on our hot board. Just because I don't know, I don't like Ryan Day's taking over play calling again. Is he? Or has he been doing it all year? Like, is he actually taking over play calling, or has he
Right.
been, so with that kind of uncertainty, it gave me some pause. But it really seems like he's putting together a pretty good staff, and the value prop is just going to be, I'm a really good recruiter, and I'm really detailed, so we're going to just get really good players, and we're going to have a solid coaching staff. Like Tim Beck, I think he's got a high floor. I think he's also got a really low ceiling. So he's kind of, but like, I think it'll be competent, But then if your coach is competent and you've just got much better players than everybody, okay, we can be really good, So, I think that's kind of the value prop, and they got a bunch of young guys too. With connections throughout the South, the Midwest. So I think he's put together a pretty good staff.
Very odd connection to New York State as well.
Yeah, I have seen
I'm looking. I had to do a double take because I was looking through Mike Solini's bio, and then I also looked at Beekas's bio, and I was like, wait, they played at Nassau Community College together in New York.
Massapequa. Was somebody from Massapequa? I saw.
Massapequa.
Wow.
Yeah.
That's kind of fascinating. So Seth, you kind of mentioned, all right, Brian Hartline probably was not ever calling the plays. Does it really matter in the grand scheme of things when you bring in a guy like Tim Beck, who has historically called plays at every stop? He was definitely the NC State offense coordinator.
Yeah.
So if he trusts Tim Beck to run the show offensively, then he can actually do more of the head coaching things. Is that kind of maybe the selling point that Brian Hartline it kind of conveyed? Like, I don't have to be the play caller because I didn't really do it at Ohio State, but here's a guy who's done it before.
Yeah, I don't think I wouldn't think the sell to me, and maybe I don't know anything, but the sell to me on Brian Hartline is not that, hey, here comes the chess master. He's a really good, because at receiver, you got to be super detailed, and his guys all come to the NFL ready to play, which is a more detailed position than you'd think. So I think he's a really good coach. So he's obviously detailed. He's obviously a smart guy. You hear him talk. He's a smart dude. But I don't think it was his value proposition was ever, hey, I'm going to come in and we're going to run a crazy exotic scheme and only I can call it. I think his is, I'm really detailed. I can run a really tight program, and I can recruit like crazy. So I don't think him calling the plays was ever, to me, that wouldn't have been part of the package and bringing him here. I would have been like, all right, if he says he's calling plays, we'll definitely hire. It's like, if he says I have to call plays, it's not necessarily you wouldn't hire him either. It's kind of whatever. So I do think that, you hire a guy that I think you trust, that's done it before at a moderately high level. He's been in some big time programs, coaching some big time games. So he's not going to be freaked out or anything. I think he's going to be competent. It's not going to be anything spectacular, I don't think. But if you have really good players, it might end up being just fine. So I think you hire a guy you trust that has got a base level, can set a good foundation for your offense when you come in and your systems and things like that. And then you can put your flavor on it and just say, hey, I want to do more of this, and he'll do it. And then, you can kind of concentrate on the program-wide things, which I think is where his impact is going to be felt the most, not necessarily the X's and O's, but kind of the program-wide stuff.
Right. And it feels to me a little bit different comparing, obviously Willie Taggart inherited a tire fire. Alex Golesh clearly inherited a tire fire. Both guys turned the program around, but then the guys following them, I feel like one was set up to really succeed, and then one, Brian Hartline, is set up to succeed because there's money involved, but there's maybe not the personnel right now in place to make it happen, where you can buy the players that you need to get to make it happen. Whereas Charlie Strong was literally set up with Quentin Flowers and Dearness Johnson and that kind of nucleus of guys in 2017 and crashed it. It feels like there's a little bit, this is a weird position where USF really hasn't been in, where the previous guy set him up really, really well, and you just kind of got to keep carrying it. Like even when Skip Holtz took over in 2009, after the 2009 season, it was a weird time because obviously the investigation was still going on. Jim Levitt was, coercing players to lie for him. Like it was just like a weird thing. You have BJ Daniels coming into his first full season as a starting quarterback. And it's just a weird time for the program. Whereas now it's like everything is coming up USF and you just have to keep it on the right path. What is like the biggest roadblock or hurdle this next 6 months as USF kind of turns the gear into the Brian Hartline era, where we're probably not going to see him for another couple weeks, given how good Ohio State is?
I blacked out trying to look up where Binkus and I'm not gonna lie.
Well, I think it was really smart for them to seemingly get a lot of the front office stuff done, because if Hartline's going to be kind of out, and then also getting your coordinators, and you're seeing that kind of happening, where a lot of schools, like you kind of look at Michigan, now they just made the hire, but they're going to have their offensive coordinator and defensive coordinators for sure set before the portal, so you can kind of go attack that. Because you're not going to have that, for USF, you may not have that guy, like you said, for a little bit longer. So I think the fact that you've got most of your assistants done, and then you have a front office that's already working behind the scenes. So I'm sure they have not talked to anybody at all behind the scenes, nobody's representation. I'm sure they're waiting for that Friday to, once the portal opens, they can finally make the first contact with somebody. I'm sure they haven't talked to anybody else yet. But you have people that are working on it already, so I think that's helpful.
Yeah.
But yeah, that'll be, and you have guys that were already in the space, right? You have some guys, right, that were at Cincinnati, I believe, right, and they were kind of already working through it. So have those been announced yet? Officially?
They have not. Really, the only thing that's been the only thing that's been officially announced from USF, and I would imagine the rest are going to come before Friday. It's been rumored that Carter Wilson is the new GM. He came from Cincinnati. Yeah. Jenna Learn, formerly from USF, was at UTSA and is now back at USF in some high-level recruiting role. And then Kyle Steenhoff is the director of recruiting and scouting. There's also been some internal promotions. Zach Cole was promoted to chief of staff. Kyle Fahey has been promoted to assistant recruiting and directing, or scouting.
Director of scouting. Yeah.
So there's internal moves have happened. I'm sure there's a lot more going on behind the scenes that we haven't even seen yet. But also, none of this stuff needs to happen out in the sun either, which I think is the part that some people forget. A lot of this stuff happens kind of very quickly and over time and everything. So whether Brian Hartline is physically in Tampa or not, I don't think makes that much of a difference logistically for, prospective guys that are coming to USF from the transfer portal. It might help you more in the outgoing guys leaving USF. But ultimately, like Tim Beck and Josh Aldridge are already, planting roots and getting everything situated there. And I'm sure the rest of the coaching staff, whether they're announced or not, are already doing the same things and having meetings and discussions, and scouts are doing this and that and everything. It's just a lot of changes all happening at the same time and probably moving in very fast motion for all of these guys.
Yeah, I don't know if we talked about Terry Braden, also the D-line coach coming over from Nebraska. Chris Oladokun, Kansas City Chiefs, starting quarterback, had some very good things to say about him, who he was with the Chiefs for 8 seasons, won 3 Super Bowls with them. Very positive things to say. So, unfortunate that Kevin Patrick not being retained, but it was kind of bound to happen. And I will say it's fascinating about the the two guys that were retained, but I guess that's a story for another day.
That's a Ponderosa episode waiting to happen.
Yeah, a little bit. But I'm excited to see kind of what happens. It just feels, I don't know, it feels like this season's just so long at this point. Like USF hasn't played a game in 2 weeks.
We didn't play a bowl game.
Well, those are the allegations. So like,
yeah, the 17th.
Okay, so yeah, we're coming up on 2 weeks, and we haven't even hit the second round of the playoff yet. Like, brother, come on! Like, let's go. I still don't understand the in between the first round, second round, skipping a week. Makes no sense to me.
And then the calendar being screwed up, they're weighted. You know, you're waiting like 4 extra days or whatever too. So
everyone that we've ever talked with has said that, like, because like most of the coaches basically wanted like certain things. Like they wanted one portal period. They wanted it to be like after a certain point. And I think the NCAA still heard all of the criticisms and still made it worse.
I asked Golish at media days if he wanted an early signing period before the season, and he basically said, "Not as long as I'm at USF." I bet he'd be in favor of it now.
He might be.
So
yeah.
Well,
we'll see.
I think we might end up seeing kickoff get pushed up a week or two eventually, so the season can end close to January 1st instead of January 20th, which is insane.
That's like January 7th was even pushing it.
Yeah.
Riddle me this.
I do have a question for you guys after this. Go ahead, Steve.
I was going to say, so portal is open January 2nd through the 16th.
Mm-hmm.
The national championship's the 20th.
Those guys, I think they get like an extra extension.
Okay.
I think
I was going to say, that's real dumb.
Yeah.
Like, God help us.
I think they get an extension like based on a certain amount of time from your last game.
Okay.
Well, you still got to get into the next school, you know.
Right. But that's the other part is that, like, none of this is on the academic calendar.
No.
Either. Because, like, I think for, like, USF's enrollment date is, like, January.
When's
ad drop is, I think, the
registration is the 9th. Classes start the 12th.
When's ad drop?
Ad drop is probably like the 15th.
The 7th, yeah, the 17th, that Friday.
Yeah, so that's kind of your last.
That's the only thing binding, by the way. When we talk about like portal,
how many schools are going to add like half semester like courses and like funky courses?
Yeah, like I know there's not very many schools that are still on like the quarter system, but like I know that screws up everybody. I think what is Washington one of them that's still on the quarter system, or one of the two are. I know one of the Pacific Northwest like power schools are on the quarter system. It always gets everything screwed up and wacky. So
all right,
there needs to be a little bit more uniformity.
I got a question for you guys. I had somebody throw this at me, and I thought it was interesting. You move the season back a little bit. Or you move the season up, right? Started earlier in August. And then every year the national championship is the Rose Bowl on January 1st. For it or against it?
For it. Get the season fucking over with.
But basically make it basically the Rose Bowl is the national championship every year.
I don't know. I like the different like places. Just like the end result can be the same.
They sell it. It'll never happen because they sell it now. So I'm pretty sure they sell the game. So, but I thought it'd be interesting if you kind of had a destination, kind of like the baseball has Omaha and softball has Oklahoma City and that kind of it's almost like a destination thing.
Yeah, but how will the shareholders and sponsors make so much more money at the Rose Bowl? Can we make it the Pop-Tarts
you
Rose Bowl?
You have not thought about the stakeholders and shareholders once.
I have not.
During
That's
this.
True.
Did you think that we're doing this for the community? for each other.
It wasn't my suggestion. I had somebody suggested
Oh, okay.
to me. So I'm just saying.
Take him out back and shoot him.
I thought it was interesting. I will ask him. Have you thought about shareholder value?
Seth's just texting himself.
It's like the Discord, just like the me-to-me note.
Yeah.
It can't keep going on like this. There's a lot of things ruining college football. This is one of the major ones. Like, I watched that North Texas game the other night, and it was just like, ugh, that was gross. I was not a fan.
Like,
I think that's the only bowl game I watched, and it's because I was out at a bar and it was just on TV. I haven't watched a lick of bowl season, and it used to be something to like look forward to. It was like not quite that first, Thursday, Friday of like March Madness, but it was like something to like want to kind of work your day around to make sure you caught at least a little bit of that random New Mexico Bowl. And now it's like, well, this is the skeleton crew versus like
you're gonna get App State's 7th string quarterback or something,
Right. It was a converted defensive back, if I'm not mistaken. Like, who is that serving?
I do want to say one thing. If you're a member of the Ponderosa and the Patreon, we talked about Caleb Hawkins from North Texas a lot before they played and how good he was. And he wasn't even the leader in carries on that team. I just want to go ahead and talk about that because he's about to make a ton of money in the transfer portal.
Yes, he is.
So
he and if we wanted to get real petty, we would pull up Seth's hot board and check off all the people who got hired this offseason.
Yeah. Well, where else was Mike Jacobs?
Honest to God, where else?
Well, me and the Toledo AD are the only two people that have him on a hot board.
I love the idea that all of these like ADs and everything get in a room and they just anxiously wait for our hot board to drop. And they saw that we wrote a piece and they're like, we don't need the transcribers anymore. This idiot just wrote it all down.
Got it.
Without grass.
What can I say?
Good stuff though, Seth.
I'm ready to be a G5 AD or lower. Is what that tells me. Just football exclusively.
Football only.
Football exclusively.
Hiring manager.
Just bring me out like unfreeze me like Austin Powers every time you need to hire somebody.
How many years have passed? 2.
All right, let me look at some stats real quick.
You just look at the flow chart. Hired, fired.
That's all it is.
Nice and easy. Yeah, this coaching staff is weird. It's
eclectic.
It's eclectic. There's a lot of NFL, which I like.
There is a lot. Well, I mean, when you got a guy who played almost 10 years in the NFL, I would assume it's bound to happen.
Yeah,
and that's a lot of support staff and people of that ilk that he's come in contact with, so it makes sense.
Mm-hmm.
But my only qualm and question is like, Tim Beck's the best you could do.
I just want to know where did they really just look at like the American Athletic Conference defensive ratings and was like, yeah, just hire that guy, or like. We tried. Me and Seth tried. We couldn't find a single connection. No, like,
which I thought to me made me feel better that you're hiring somebody that maybe you don't. It's not like a buddy hire.
Yeah,
you've kind of made me feel like, oh, this guy's he's done a little bit of homework. He's got some guys out there. So, yeah. So I don't know. I feel better with the staff. I guess I feel better after the staff's been hired than I did before. Yeah. I still have, there's always you never know if these things are going to work. That sometimes they look great on paper and it doesn't work out.
I think you can ease a lot of nerves if you just absolutely unabashedly nail the quarterback you bring in.
Yeah, that's ultimately it's going to be about how good your players are. Like we see, guys that have been proven to be pretty good offensive coordinators in other places, like Kerwin Bell and now Charlie Weiss Jr. seems to be doing a pretty good job. They did not have very good players, and the offenses did not look great. Like poor Charlie Weiss Jr. had a stink on him in my mind for a long time because I'm like, they sucked. Like they were terrible. Like it wasn't even close. I'm like, they were awful when he was there. So
that's like, don't give me the 28-year-old.
But it certainly seems like he's, like he did a really good job in their game the other night. So it kind of boils down to, well, it's crazy, but usually the team with the better players is just going to win more. And you've got a guy that's got more money than everybody that was already really good at recruiting when he didn't have more money than everybody. Probably still might have had more money than everybody, but you're going to have a lot more money than everybody that you play. So that seems like a win. That's a good value proposition, I think.
Is the path to victory going into the transfer portal website and sorting by price high to low, and then just going that way?
No,
that's what I would do.
Well, I mean, it worked for the Yankees, right?
Just it works for the Dodgers. Get the dude, get dude that's good at sport.
Just think, you could potentially spend more on a quarterback or on your quarterback room than like Charlotte will spend on their whole team. You have so much money to play with.
Yeah, like you could realistically spend $3 million on a quarterback if you wanted to get real ballsy.
If you were bringing back Byram, you would have been spending more than some teams in your conference on one player.
Yeah.
So, which is why I think maybe it's not the worst thing he left, just in terms of the budget. Spread that money out.
Moneyball Seth over here.
Spread it out a little bit.
Let Seth balance the books.
No, just get spend $3-4 million on the offensive line.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. That was kind of my thing last year, or when I think we kind of, I don't know if Byron hadn't officially gone in, but we were kind of on the assumption he was going to. And it was kind of like, all right, you could spend $4 million on Byram, or you could get 4 $1 million defensive linemen. Which one do you think would be better? I was like, if you can get 4 $1 million defensive linemen, you're probably going to kill everyone. You know what I mean?
Right.
Texas Tech laid out a pretty good blueprint of, hey, spend some money on defensive line.
Yeah. So yeah, I mean, it just end up being good in the trenches. I think you'll be fine. Max out 2.5 at quarterback and go from there.
Depending on what you run, you don't have to have the great. You don't have to spend a ton of money. I want you could get a guy like Teron Dickens. He ain't going to command $2.5 million.
He's not. He is not, and he's otherworldly.
So if you can have something where you're going to run the quarterback a little bit, you can kind of spend less there. Maybe bring in a couple guys that are athletic and spread that money around. It's the same as the NFL now. It's like, how little can I spend on my quarterback to spread in other places?
Right.
If you can hit on a freshman quarterback or like a Trinidad Chambliss at Ole Miss, where you're hitting a guy from a lower level, well, now I can spread my money out for that 1 year and kind of maximize my 1 year window. So we'll see.
I know, Marcus Stokes is probably going P4, right? Like that. He was already he was a P4 guy before the incident.
He was an Elite 11-ish guy, I think. I think he was an Elite 11 guy. Was committed to Penn State and then committed to Florida and then had his incident, and then nobody would touch him after that. But he was also somewhat erratic in high school in terms of accuracy, and it was a big projection, but he was really good at West Florida. So
yeah. And
so I think a guy like Teron Dickens might get pushed down, which he's a Florida guy that's, completed 45 passes in a row last year in a game, something like that. Pretty good,
decent.
So
pretty decent. But we've gone on for almost an hour. Do you guys have anything else we want to touch on before we get out of here? This is the last Pod by the Bay of the 2025 calendar year.
Oh, I was going to say, quick thoughts on the season, like overall. Did we give kind of our final thought? Well, I guess here's my question: was it disappointing?
Yes.
Isn't that crazy? It totally was.
I think the thing that looking back at it, like I stared at like the Kelly Ford like map of the schedule for like the entire season and seeing like the four game blocks. And like, again, if you had told me that you went 3-1 in each one of those 4 game blocks, I'd be like probably pretty thrilled with it to an extent. But then like seeing it happen in real time just made me feel like, I think the worst thing I did for myself was I threw out a hypothetical. I wonder if USF is going to have the best point differential in the conference after the season. And someone in Discord like pulled up all the point differential, like including North Texas in there. And like we were like by fucking far the most point differential. It was like 200 point difference between USF and like Charlotte.
Once you throttled North Texas, it was kind of like, all right, you got to make the championship game. And not even what did they finish 4th?
Yeah.
Like, you got unfortunate. I think you got like one of the tougher schedules in conference a little bit.
You got Navy'd.
Yeah, and then that's just like
you got your head coach thinking he was God bless
Ponderosa. No.
But
I have done very good for 3 years not saying a bad word.
Well,
But
he's not the coach anymore. You don't have to abide by that agreement. You can get on Twitter and
that was
say
the
bad
stupidest fucking thing he's ever done.
Which one?
Who are you trying to big dick giving the ball to your backup offensive lineman?
Oh, yeah.
Are you fucking kidding me?
That was terrible. Yeah, that wasn't great.
What a fucking dumbass.
The returns on that were diminishing throughout the year. The first time, nobody expected it. Wide open.
The second time
he fumbled
it and recovered it.
Twice. He fumbled it twice. Yes.
Whenever USF went under center this past season, I was like,
it was a calamity.
They're not getting shit.
The success rate was like 10%. I think they were 1 for 10. Oh my
God. Like that was this. That's what's so frustrating because it's not like you just got like outplayed. It's both times you kind of got outcoached. It's like frick. And like obviously like Napier got fired. So I don't know how much you can but like the end of that Florida game compared to like the end of Memphis and Navy, like it two different people. And it made no sense. Like you want to be balls to the wall, go fast, be aggressive, awesome, and then game on the line, you're giving it to a backup offensive lineman. Yeah. And consistently for 3 years, your team started off molasses slow, and you can never figure out why. Like, oh my God, that was
so disappointed. So you say yes, you were disappointed.
So disappointed. I would have much rather gone 1-3 that first 4 and gone 8-0 the next 8. Like that's.
When we do next season's projections for the season, we need to be very specific. When we say if you go 9-3.
We got to go back. I want to go back and listen to some of. I was trying to find the pod beforehand where we made any type of projections, but we got to go back and see what we thought because that'll be fun. Actually, maybe that'll be something we can do in the next pod. Look back at our projections, and then we also have the portal, so it'll be fun. Next time we talk, we might have some new players and stuff to talk about. Yeah. So should be good.
Unbelievable. All right, I am going to get my blood pressure under control.
Deep breath.
It was such a pleasant sign off earlier until I caused you to rage.
I mean,
I'm sorry.
That's 3 years of pent up aggression of me just biting my tongue because I promised. I mean, tongue in cheek, promise.
You didn't say it on Twitter, so you're good.
Yeah. But good Lord, good night.
When I watched that live, and I'll be funny with it. When I watched that live, the first thing I thought of, Nathan, was you. I could see your expression when it happened. Just the most disappointed father look ever. Just
like, bro, there's only like so many famous gingers. You cannot do this to us.
You really screwed the pooch for you, huh? Immigrant too.
And
ginger immigrants in football.
In football?
How bad did you beat somebody in the college football game after that?
It was that too.
I played that game. Yeah, I did play that night, and I think I won like 96-7. I put some, and that's 5-minute quarters.
Did you do any O-line fullback dives? Did you go any of that?
Yeah, that's crazy. No, I just ran my offense and scored 96 points. Craziest thing ever.
Did you, when you got in like a short yardage situation, did you use your human battering ram quarterback to get the yard, or?
It's funny. I gave him the option to run or pass.
Yeah. The human Terminator. It's probably a good idea. All right. Well, that's lovely. Happy New Year, everybody.
Yeah, we got to find a way to sign this off on a happier note.
Well, Tim Beck's calling plays now, so.
We said happy, Seth.
Oh,
happy. Men's basketball looks good. Women's basketball looks all right, even though they've got some key injuries. We get
baseball's going to start soon.
Baseball starts soon. Holy shit! This guy keeps on driving past my house with a motorcycle. Tennis could win a national championship this year. Men's, clarifying.
Oh yeah.
We'll have spring discussions later. We'll get me just as heated.
I think men's golf's going to be pretty good this year. I know they got to replace a few guys, but we'll see.
George Kiefer's coming back.
Steve, we said happy or no?
Big George.
He did not bring the kid that was really good with him from Grand Canyon, but
swing and a miss.
But he did bring his kids.
I'm kind of genuinely shocked. Like, are they going to be able to qualify?
I thought about that. Me and I think someone in Discord talked about that for a little bit. I think their athletics programs abide by different rules than their como se dice online degree bill.
No,
that's like a fake school.
No, they got to be accredited to be in the NCAA. I'm pretty sure it's not like a Bishop Sycamore.
Next best thing.
I mean, they got the largest student enrollment in the country.
Well, I mean, I guess if Kobe Knox got qualified, so I guess anything's possible.
Yeah, that'd be fine. So. I think with athletics, there is like a different level of because you have to have NCAA,
and then you got to have your conference stuff. Like you got to have some of your ducks in a row to play sports.
Yeah,
something. So unless you're independent, there's a lot of rogue independent football teams traveling around. I can tell you
that. Too many of them. I'm excited to learn all the new people. I'm excited to learn everything about them. Maybe have a few chummy conversations with them. New friends. Yeah. We love making new friends here.
Yeah, AJ Dunpo's got his work cut out for him.
He does. Tough break. All right. Be safe if you guys are going out. Use an Uber. I know it's probably going to be expensive on New Year's Eve, but do not drink and drive. Be safe.
No fireworks.
Yeah. Back up, Terry.
No fireworks inside.
Put it in reverse, Terry. All right. So enjoy yourselves. Have a good. Do you want to say bye? No. All right. Brody doesn't want to say bye, but he's here. We're gonna have a good 2026. Also, real quick, it was Brody's birthday yesterday.
Oh,
now
happy birthday.
Brody birthday.
He's 5 years old today. Well, he's
Dang.
not. I mean, he's been 5 years old for about 48 hours, but yeah, 5 years old.
Oh,
A 5-year-old baby boy.
5-year-old. How about it, bud? How about it, bud?
Happy birthday.
All right. That's how we're going to sign it off.
There you
Happy
go.
birthday, Brody. Love you, Bubba. Be safe. Have fun. Go Bulls.
Go Bulls.
Go Bulls.